In this video, we go over how Jake Paul can stop Tyron Woodley in their upcoming rematch. Obviously, he had a lot of success in that first fight, and that did well for him. But I feel like he definitely has to come in with a different game plan, a different strategy. He kind of was just on the back foot that whole time. I feel like he should maybe not come forward to Woodley, but just be more confident in his ability. It seemed like he wasn't fully confident in his ability to knock out Woodley, or confident in his ability to walk down Woodley. So Woodley has so much experience that it's going to be hard for Jake Paul to impose himself on Woodley. But I think he has to do more. He has to kind of be more confident in himself, kind of different things. And also he's the bigger guy. He's the naturally taller guy by a good amount. So he should use that to his advantage. He has a longer reach, and his stance is more open. He has more of an elusive stance than Woodley. Woodley's kind of just stationary and staying there, and not really moving as much. So I feel like, yeah, just keep up to what he's doing. Obviously Jake looks a lot slimmer in this fight, as we mentioned. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, like we were talking about how Woodley needs to impose his will. Also, Jake, like you said, being the bigger man in general, should also be trying to aim to do that and kind of put himself in positions where he's not always being backed up all the time and forcing himself to circle around the ring all the time. And then, which is another thing that Jake has to fix in this rematch, is kind of, yeah, is cardio, or also cardio management, whichever the one it was that costed him to gas out in the last fight. And then if he were to be fresh going into all these rounds, then I feel like he also have a lot of a better opportunity to possibly even finish Woodley. Of course, it's hard to say since we didn't really see Woodley hurt at any moment of that fight, really. So it would be hard to say, but he would definitely put himself in better position if he were to just have that extra energy and just to
Yeah.
keep going and try to land big shots on Woodley.
I mean, I think the key for Jake Paul to really finish Woodley, to really actually stop him, I feel like the key is he has to take risks. Jake Paul wasn't really taking risks in that first fight. He wasn't really, taking risks, or making himself a tricky fighter. He was more of a textbook boxer that you know what to expect from him. So for him to finish Woodley, he has to take more risks, and that's 100%. Because if he's just gonna sit there and box with Woodley, he might come out with a decision, but he could also, there's a chance of him getting caught, and him, just like the first fight, getting hit by the big time shot, and this time he might not survive. So it's gonna be hard. So if he wants to finish Woodley, he has to take risks. Maybe come through, walk through the fire a little bit, walk Woodley down a little bit. We've seen in Woodley's MMA career, he's not particularly the best fighter on the back foot. He's not particularly such this amazing fighter who's on the back foot. So it's gonna be interesting to see if Jake could hunt down Woodley in this rematch, or maybe not even hunt down Woodley, because I don't see him doing that, because it's unrealistic, considering especially what happened in that first fight. So maybe just impose himself on Woodley, just and like you said, the cardio management is a huge deal. How he was moving around the ring so much, and that's really going to drain you, and that's exactly what we saw. So
And also a huge thing that Jake Paul usually does in all of his fights, which in this one he didn't really do at all. Maybe because of the fear of the power or whatever it may be, but it's countering. And like how he got that a lot of the Nate Robinson knockdowns or KO, he was just countering him. And like here he didn't really do it. And I feel like I was talking about before, how Woodley was throwing out that big right overhand many times just to kind of put it there against Jake. If he manages to analyze that during the fight and kind of manages to figure a way to counter it consistently, he can catch Woodley big and maybe hit him flush with a big shot that'll end up switching the tides for him, and who knows what could happen from there. And I feel like that would be heavily to his advantage since his style is a lot usually around countering his opponents, and to see him not really doing that as much in his last fights and more going combo heavy, which was still good and it was working.
yeah,
I feel like it would be effective if he's able to time it
And
well and
yeah,
actually get the rhythm
and I
of
feel like
it. If
that's
he can't though,
I feel like
it might end up
I feel
bad.
like that's how Jake might be able to actually finish Woodley. If he's able to time him, maybe, just have just that one shot that's just a flush timed shot. Well, maybe Woodley's gonna come out more careless in this fight. Maybe he saw those comments that, oh, come on, he was so passive. He was so negative. He wasn't throwing. So, if Woodley sees those comments and he decides, fuck it, I'm just gonna go in there and I'm just gonna just go blazing in there. So and try to hurt Jake, then Jake should be ready to counter him and ready to time him, because that's how you're gonna hurt Woodley. That's how you're gonna drop him. That's exactly what we saw in the Vicente Luque fight, with Tyron Woodley. We saw him come in, you know, balls to the wall, just guns blazing. So, you know, it's gonna be interesting, to see if Jake's able to time him like that. But that kind of also relies on, Woodley, coming in more careless, more determined, more,
Yeah.
you know.
And like you're talking about that Vicente Luque fight, it's interesting because he managed to hurt Luque there by going like careless and just kind of just putting
Yeah.
his all into it right away. But he also ended up after getting hurt himself
Well,
and then
well,
at
I
the end
think I
finished.
think I think more of that fight was after he hurt Luque. He started to come
Yeah,
in.
he got more
Yeah, he got he
careless.
got even
So
more
it,
careless. So I feel like I
yeah,
feel like that's kind of
it's
why Woodley was more cautious in the Jake Paul fight, because this guy's a YouTuber. You don't just want to get countered by a YouTuber and just be on the floor. But if Woodley's now overconfident, he's thinking, okay, well, Jake Paul really didn't pose any threat to me. He didn't hurt me at all in that first fight. 25 minutes in the ring with him, and I didn't feel a threat in terms of power. So I could just go guns blazing and have no issues. If Woodley's thinking that, which, I mean, first of all, we can't really take those bets like that. But if
yeah.
that does happen, then that's definitely going to favor Jake in terms of he's going to be able to you know try to pick his shots and pick his counters. So yeah, that's going to be interesting, because we've seen Jake time his opponents. He's timed Nate Robinson. He timed Ben Askren. He didn't seem to time Woodley much. There's a few shots where he landed and Woodley might have, you know, stumbled or buckled his legs, but there was nothing major that actually got taken place, like against Jake Paul did when he was on the ropes and he was knocked down. So yeah, I feel like it's gonna be a tough fight for Jake Paul to finish Woodley, but if he can get it done, that will definitely be a huge statement, and yeah, that'd be super impressive, honestly.
Yeah, and also another reason why Woodley might have came out a bit more like just not throwing compared to his Vicente Luque fight where he's throwing, since it was like a double edged sword for him. He hurt Luque and then after he got hurt and then finished. So in this fight he was probably thinking, all right, you know what? I'm like you said, he's a YouTuber and then I kind of want to be a bit more cautious, just make sure I don't get hurt and then just more careful. But then it even then it might have just stuck to him so much that even when he hurt Jake, he just still went to freeze mode where he's like, all
Yeah.
right, still got to be cautious, still
Yeah,
got
I
to
mean, I
be
mean, credit
worrisome.
credit to Jake for really taking this Woodley fight, because this is a dangerous match. Woodley is a five-time UFC world champion, and he's always game. He's never not going to be prepared. He's going to come in there and he's going to have a game plan. He's going to have a strategy, and he's going to try, his best to win the fight. So, and especially with the motivator that Jake Paul put $500,000 bounty on himself. He put $500,000 if Woodley's able to KO him or TKO him. Woodley gets 500 grand, and as well, if Woodley does KO him or TKO him, there's going to be a trilogy, so even more money. And that trilogy will guarantee you even more money than you get for the second fight for sure. You know what I mean? So, money
Hmm.
has been, we've seen it already, that money has been such a huge motivator for Tyron Woodley, and him being able to finish Jake and potentially securing a trilogy with him would definitely be a huge motivator for Woodley. So it's gonna be dangerous to see if he's gonna come blazing, and if Jake Paul is gonna have what it takes to answer the call and kind of prove him to the world that he is a fighter, and he's gonna be there, and he's tough. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It is taken directly from our Punch Plan podcast, which you can check right now on your screen. And that's pretty much it. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed.